Okay. All right, Ollie, you are here chatting to us because we thought we would have a little breakdown of the recent Project Underground event that was about 10 days ago. You was the face of the videos. You was there, the man behind the camera, giving all your thoughts, feelings and everything else. Great to see you getting in the mix and pointing the camera in places that people didn't dare get into. You weren't scared about being in Kevin's way. So...
it's just good. Like, it's just seeing, like, recording everything, you know, it's just good. It makes me feel responsible, and I'm, like, a part of the team doing it all, so it's good.
Yeah, to be fair, I think you're probably the best person in front of the camera. I think my personal favourite bit was just your reactions to the finals challenges. Without showing the challenges, your reactions were top quality of just pure disgust.
I don't know how Liam comes up with them. His mind is something else. Like, I'm looking at the challenge. I'm just like, right, what? Not that's just not being done though. Like, that's just not a thing.
Yeah, no, not a thing. I thought quite a few of the second round challenges were a bit like that, to be honest. Like,
yeah.
And then suddenly you're like, how can they get any worse than this? And then he reveals these. Was it 10? 10 final challenges. Or was it 8? I can't remember how many it was.
I don't think it was 10. I think maybe I'm going for like 5 or 8 or something.
So men's finals challenges, there was the Kong cat pass pole cap.
Yeah.
The massive running cat leap.
180 to rail.
180 to the rail off the death drop.
The lache, like, hit the bar, lache
dash pre,
yeah.
Yeah.
Running cat leap.
I said that one.
Oh, have you?
4 challenges? No, there must have been more than that. 360 to the rail.
Yeah.
So there's 5. There must have been more, surely.
I do think it was 5.
So there was only 5 challenges?
Yeah, I think so. I swear.
So I might need to have a look back on the video.
How many?
5?
How many did Ed do?
So Ed did cat pass Kong pole cat. He did the 360. He also did the running cat leap.
Yeah, I think... Yeah, that's it. That's what he got.
And then he bounced the dash pre, didn't he? No one legitimately went for the 180 cat leap 180 pre. I know the closest person to have a look at that was Hendo, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I think he did 2 landings next to it and was just like, yeah, nah.
Yeah, I saw him just like kept looking. I saw his face was just like, nah.
Yeah, that's for anyone who's not been to Nova. Just the 180 over the what they nicknamed the death gap is pretty scary, to be fair, because of the way the landing is. It's like an underhand.
Yeah.
So when you're in the cat leap position looking back, it's very, very exposed. But then to throw yourself an extra foot to the right and then onto a railing where if you didn't make the railing, there's like a good body's worth of drop underneath and you're going to land on like all sorts of crap.
Yeah. So, I mean... Like, when I was recording Hendo, looking at it, a bit of me was scared, because it's just, like, so much consequence with that challenge, and it's just not nice. Like, I'm glad that some people, like, did give up and just not try something and then they'll absolutely, like, bail.
Yeah.
Like,
speaking of consequences, the consequence of bouncing the big running cat leap as well, having to do it over that railing where it needed, like, 2 to 3 spotters.
Yeah.
And then the one where Redfern actually hit his feet so high that he did bounce off. Genuinely thought he's just going to smash the back of his skull on that railing.
Like,
it's pretty scary to
when
see.
that happened, everyone was just like, oh.
The air got sucked out of the room, didn't it?
Yeah.
I think if you look carefully on, I think it's the angle you captured, you actually see Ed slide his arm in front of the pole, and he luckily somehow ducks underneath it and doesn't really like have any problems at all. Comes out and he's like, after like walking into what could be considered an absolutely monster of a cat leap arm jump type of thing.
Yeah, I think if it wasn't for the spotters, he would have been out. He just wouldn't have carried on.
Yeah, would have been looking. I think he was. He was one of the finalists who stopped before running out of lives as well, wasn't he?
I think he had like 1 life left.
Yeah, I know Oliver Thorpe had 1 attempt and was just like, yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
Although I suspect he might have had some form of injury. I did notice his hand was bandaged up during the weekend.
Yeah.
And then Kevin was just typical defending champion. Kevin was putting himself in the mix for that challenge. All of them just unreal level of skill going into a skill final. And I don't think anyone could have probably predicted who was going to win that.
Oh yeah, there's so many, like, such a stacked roster this year. It's just like you were looking at Steve, oh, he could win, he could win, he can win. Like, you just really didn't know what could happen.
And then the same with Style as well. Style was so stacked. Obviously, you had multiple previous champions.
Yeah.
Obviously, you had Christian Kowalski from Red Bull. You had Kevin, defending champion, and Ed Scott, former champion. All three of them in the finals of a Style competition. You're looking at that, and everyone's going, well, it could be any one of them. All three of them, if everything goes right, could be podium winning for sure. Not to mention all the people who came and, like, I'll hold my hands up. There were some people in the finals who I didn't really know.
Yeah.
Probably should be following. I do follow now, and was just blown away by their level of skill as well. It was just unreal. It was amazing. Really great to see. Heartbreaking for Ed Scott as well. Because Ed Scott's one of those people. If you've ever been at an event with Ed Scott there, he trains for a very minimal amount of time, and then you might catch glimpses of him over in the corner with his sliders on, headphones in, just absolutely staring into space, super in the zone. And then you obviously might see him have a couple of goes at little bits of his run, then he goes back to being on his own, getting focused and everything. And I think maybe Ed had a point to prove from the year before with the ankle injury, which was awful, horrible, which he did come back from quite well.
Yeah, and I'm glad that he did do so well in skill. Like, he got his redemption for that.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, with the start, arguably the best run in the qualifiers. Ed Scott's very good, very like, everything was just like executed to a T, and then to have that missed grip in that finals, you just knew inside he would have been screaming, raging that he'd missed that one hand placement. Because let's face it, when does anyone ever see Ed Scott go wrong? I don't think I've ever seen him step foot in when it's in comp mode. I don't think I've ever seen him go wrong. I think everyone's got that image of Scott just being like, at the end of a run. I've seen it too many times. Red Bull, Project Underground, any of the SBL events. He's always there, up at the top end. So to see him come back from that and put on an absolute show in skill.
Yeah.
Because he was running out of lives quick.
And I was just like, oh, like, is Ed Scott just going to get 0 points? I was like, what is happening? And then he just went on a rampage and just started destroying.
Yeah, and obviously he'd lost a couple of lives on first attempts, and then he hit that cat leap.
Yeah.
And then he somehow got that Kong pole cat. And then he just blams the 360, and you're just like, oh my god, he's now in the lead.
Yeah.
Where did this come from? Like, actually, so quick. So just mind-blowing to see. And then obviously he wasn't even the last person to go. You've got Tom Redfern and Kevin who are obviously, you know that they're coming up next. You've got to be putting in more than 100% effort. You've got to be so on it to try and knock anyone like that off the podium.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like Tom Redfern arguably has been on every podium of a competition he's ever been on. He's currently double gold for Grim Jam.
Yeah.
He walked away with gold and bronze at Project Underground. Bronze in skill, gold in speed. Speed is obviously his forte.
Yeah.
But he's such a skillful athlete. He's so powerful. Such a big dude.
Yeah.
Just it's unreal. So
crazy. Good. Like, Sheffield Takeover as well. Just destroyed.
Oh, did he win Sheffield Takeover? He was, or was he up there?
Yeah, won.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, and then someone else won the York one, didn't they?
Yeah, I don't think it was him, but
Tom is one of those athletes that is always up there, always up there. Like, we've known him, and he's from Manchester, so he's classed as a northern boy, and we've known him and seen him at loads of events, and I know he eats himself alive with his own performance sometimes, but like the amount of times I've spoke to him about like oh, how's things going? How are things feeling? He's just like, oh, I'm not in the right zone. I've got an injury. I've got this. And then 2 hours later, he's on a podium and he's blowing everyone's minds. And you're like, well, what happens if you're at 100%, dude? Like, like if this is you at 80 or 90, what is it when we get that extra 10% of Tom Redfern? Do you know what I mean? Like, just unbelievable.
Yeah, he's just one of those athletes where it's just like every time, it's just you're always shocked. Like he's just always got like the skill, and it's just mad.
Yeah, and he's very well rounded as well.
Yeah,
like there's not much that he can't do. Like I'll openly admit, anything becomes a lache or a pole cart, I'm just like, yeah, tap out, not doing it. Like I'm just not good at that kind of thing. But then there doesn't seem to be much where Tom Redfern's like, no, I can't do that.
Yeah, he's just always going for it.
Yeah, always definitely in the mix.
Yeah,
interesting to see. Although I would like to see him do a style comp. That'd be interesting. I don't think I've ever seen him do style because I know he can do a couple of flips.
But I think for him, if he just did some like high intense parkour, execute it perfectly, you just go through.
True. That shout out to Sam Kopak because he does that every year. He focuses on that like parkour style rather than the flip based style. And he seems to podium well. Obviously his execution's always good. Difficulty because he always puts that wham cat leap in there. And I don't think there's anyone who's done that cat leap as many times as Sam Kopak. And it's not small by any margin. Anyone needs to look back at any of our videos and look at the absolute battle John had with that cat leap. Just weeks and weeks and weeks of bouncing off, slipping down, falling in. And it's claimed people's almost teeth.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's been some broken ankles on that one. It's a big jump, very dangerous, high with very very big consequence.
Yeah.
So it's like, and he just seems to be like I have like more of an affection towards the parkour style. Maybe because I probably don't have that many flips in my own repertoire, but then seeing someone have their run primarily based around, for want of a better term, parkour. Obviously, let's not get into the whole parkour free running debate right now, but I think majority of people know what I mean when I say a parkour run over a flip run. But then looking at Jazz, who's never competed in style, and he's definitely more skill based of athlete rather than a flip based athlete like John or an Ed Scott or someone like that. Well, we say that John Ed Scott won skills, so you can't really say that anymore. But I think anyone who thinks about Ed Scott will initially think of the fact that his flips are on a different level. Yeah. But Jazz to do the run that he did on his first ever time in under 16s and then end with that stick, the roof exploded on the place. And I could be wrong, but I don't think I've ever seen anyone finish a run on an actual stick. There's been a stick attempt,
but that like perfect balls of the feet, just stop still.
Yeah. High up dinger, and like you could, and looking back at the judging criteria and the judges as well, it was like a resounding from all judges that his execution and his like difficulty was high enough that it was there. He's doing strides on rails at head height as well. No one else is doing that in the style run. And I think Jazzy's run had one flip in it. His first one had just the side full Rudy or whatever it's called, bio twist
platform.
Yeah, and then obviously second run, unfortunately in the finals, I think if he would have got it, hands down he would have won that competition. But the side flip rail pre that he did, where he got it, was it 7 or 8 times in practice?
Doing it perfect every single time.
Yeah.
And then the one, it was just
not to be on this occasion. But it's just sometimes the way it goes, isn't it? And I think Jazz probably exceeded all of his own expectations. He was terrified going into that style comp because he's like, I don't do style, it's not my thing. And we was just like, just do what you're strong at, it will pay off. And it did, and it's great to see. Shame it didn't happen in the final, and also next year Jazz will be classed as an adult and over 16, so he's going to be in with the big boys. But looking at someone who won youth the year before, Jai, and then come with a podium winning no matter what category that was, and then to come in and do double front and a double back in like 2 different runs to be in the finals is like unreal. So like the quality of athlete, even just at a young age now, you look at people like George, who was in the he's under 16s, but he's one of the younger ones in under 16s.
Yeah, he's like 13 years old.
And he's doing gainer, cast back, all like what is probably a standard trick for him. But anyone who's 15 years into parkour, all like their elite level tricks. So can you imagine when he's in 8 years' time, when he's at like peak performance, and he's going to be like Ellis Torhill level of kind of athlete.
Yeah.
He's going to be throwing lines together where people are just going to be like, none of that's possible. How is he doing this? So, and I think that's for style, I think that's where things are going. I think we're going to be looking at runs where we're just going to be like, oh, that was just 10 standalone tricks that were mind-boggling, but managed to link them together.
And something that like I just think is crazy, because obviously we went to Nova the week before to get some practice in, and George, like, a bunch of people was trying this lache splat back, and how George had to get up to the bar because he's so small he couldn't even just jump up. He had to like proper shimmy up. But then when he was on the bar, he's doing the perfect lache splat back. I'm just like, what is this? Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's great to see, like you say, the background things where you're like, wow, athletes who are just young. Like, and another one you can think of is Elise as well.
Yeah,
Elise has won near enough every competition she's entered, even from however old she was, 14, 15 maybe, on her first ever like style comp.
Yeah.
But just the level of difficulty and the level of things that these athletes are able to do is just, it's pushing the where's the sport going to be in another 5 years? Like, tricks that weren't possible are going to be possible. So I'm excited to see where that goes, and it's good to see that like more of the community are coming together. Project Underground was definitely the biggest one yet, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Like, how many people? 52 in style?
53 in style, which was painstakingly long if you were watching. It was hard. Obviously, everyone's got to have their fair shout at competing, so it's good to see there are so many people in the mix. 53 people turning up to have a go at a style comp is unheard of. I'm pretty sure no one's going to be getting numbers. I don't even think Red Bull probably had those kind of numbers. Maybe on the on-site qualifiers, but that's a different kind of ball game.
Yeah.
But 53 athletes getting the run of one of the best gyms for a minute or a minute and a half and putting runs together, and it's like you just think everyone was exceeding expectation.
Yeah, it's like, since there was so many people, there was so many times when someone went, I was like, oh, they got through, and I'm like, there's so many people. I was like, how can they narrow this down to like 16 people?
From
like
53.
Yeah, it's
massive. I do have a pet peeve with style comps though. Is obviously I think we're at the precipice where parkour competitions are at a level where they need to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
There's people like Ed Scott coming into competition who it's like that money means something. You are a professional athlete. You're trying to win. That's what it is. So it's when these people come in and do 15 laps of the gym and do backdrops and flop on the floor, and you're like, you've just wasted 4 minutes of everyone's time. You're delaying that next athlete who could have gone already, may potentially have been ready, and then it takes you out of it. And it's like, if parkour wants to be seen as a serious sport, which is always the battle that we've got in this sport, is people who do that shouldn't be allowed to compete.
Yeah,
it's not fair. I don't think it's fair.
It's people that take these competitions seriously that actually makes it more enjoyable to watch. Like, it gets you in the zone, in the moment, being like, oh, this is, like, it's about to go down. Like,
yeah, exactly. And then if everyone's building this hype and then someone then suddenly starts running around with a harmonica in the mouth, it's not enjoyable for the right reasons.
No.
Yeah, it's enjoyable for you to watch, but it's not, if you was trying to, say, attract that next big funder for your event, like the new Barclaycard, the new Red Bull, the new something, you're going to get laughed out the room if people are doing that. And I think that's an element of parkour competitions. It's hard to govern. I don't know how you're going to stop people from doing that, but that's something that I would love to see less of. Because it's not fair on the athletes who are trying to take it seriously.
Yeah. And parkour is already seen as, like, weird, stupid, dumb. And then these people are just, like, reinforcing that view.
Not to say that parkour shouldn't be fun. That's not what I'm trying to say. But more like within the setting of a competition, it's game time. It's serious. It's like there's people here who are trying to make a living off the money. And let's face it, there aren't many competitions out there that are offering like big sums of money. I would probably say Project Underground are probably one of the biggest cash prizes going.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's £1,000 for a winner. And they've got multiple categories. Obviously, you've got 3 adult categories, male and female, so that's 6. That's potentially $6,000 already gone. Not to mention second places, third places, under 16s, under 12s. I don't know. I obviously don't know what the breakdowns of all those prices are. And it's that these events are not easy to put on. So why should we have to sit there through people who aren't there to take it seriously? Have fun when it's time to have fun, but take it seriously when it's game time, when it's competition time. So it's great to see that the event's getting bigger and everything's kind of going on. I was injured this year, so I was relegated to shop manager, man in the shop. I didn't really get much time to train. What was your aspect? I know you were filming quite a lot, but trying to train in between competitions, do you think they improved on that this year? Because I could see that was definitely a conscious thing that Liam was looking into. With the timetable being slightly later in the day, it gave people opportunity to train earlier on.
I feel like they should have moved the events forwards, have them earlier in the day, so then people can train after the event. So, I mean, I do know a lot of people after the event's finished go, but like I would probably say I had like 30 minutes training time the whole weekend. Like, it's you don't get a lot, but I don't know.
Yeah, it was funny, and it's good to see that people are getting the chance to train alongside people that you may only have the opportunity to see online. So I think for me, even being at 17 years into parkour, I don't think I've ever been in the same space as Sebastian. And it's like he turned up. And like I don't think that might have been as big of a deal for the younger people, but for someone like me who were in that second/third wave of people who started parkour back in like 2005, 2006, it's crazy to think that it was over 100 people, maybe even 200 people in the room, in the building, and they're all there because of Sebastian. And he's there. He's in the room. Do you know what I mean? And it's almost mind-boggling that you had the opportunity to go and talk to the founder of the sport that we are all obsessed with. Because can anyone say that in any other sport? Like, you can go and speak to maybe like the Tony Hawk, who's considered the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
But can anyone go and speak to the founder of the sport, or one of the founders of the sport? I would say there's only a handful of people who are probably, obviously it's a big handful now that because of Project Underground, but how many people had that opportunity? And for the older generation, amazing. But then like for your generation, being able to have candid conversations with Dom Tomato or Verky, and it's like, oh, these people don't seem like real people. I would assume through the YouTube screen, they're not real. And it's like
watching like, Dom, Verky, like Storer, it's like, it's weird because like you're watching these videos, like you sat at home in your bedroom watching them, you're just like idolising them, and then when you go to Project Underground, everyone's just there chilling together, like, you know, you're having a chat with Callum, and it's just like, how have I got to this? How am I here right now? It's so crazy.
Yeah.
Everyone's just all so friendly and nice, and just we all just vibe together. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that one of my biggest things about parkour is like, you might not have ever met these people, but you feel like you already know them.
Yeah.
To the point where you might be able to have candid conversations with people about things that wouldn't necessarily normally happen. The fact that, was it you and Firish had some funny conversations with Dom, who is probably arguably the most followed person within the world of parkour.
Yeah, most
Obviously,
followed on Instagram.
1.7 million,
Yeah,
I think it is
so.
now. And then he's obviously got multiple subscribers on other platforms. But how did that... I want you to tell the story from your point of view. We kind of touched on this in our video at the very end. If anyone waited to the very end of the video, you saw this. I want to hear from you about what actually happened. Or how did that even come about?
Alright, so Firish, he's got an obsession with Jazz's mum, and Jazz's mum was at Project Underground to support Jazz, so Firish was like, he was just with Marie, and like, he was just like chatting with her, and then I really don't know how this happened, but I don't know how Firish wanted to get Dom Tomato to follow Jazz's mum. So Firish came up to me and was like, "Oh, do you want to try help me get Dom to follow Jazz's mum?" And I was like, "Yes, obviously." So we went up to Dom and was like, "Oh, you know Jazz, can you follow his mum for us?" And he was Dom.
Not follow Jazz, just follow Jazz's mum.
And Dom was like, "Oh, I've got 420 followers, so I want to like that he's following, and he wants to keep it that number." And he was like, "So if you find someone that I could unfollow to replace and follow Jazz's mum," and was like, and then Fire was like, "Quick, someone get the phone up." So we had my phone. We were scrolling through Dom's, like, who he's following, and was like, "Dom, what about this guy? Unfollow him?" Yeah, and he was like, "Oh no, I'm mates with him." And was like, "Right, Motus, they're dead." And Dom was like, "Yeah, I guess you're right." And then Dom got his phone out, unfollowed Motus, and then started following Jazz's mum. And we was like, oh, we ran over to Marie and was like, check your follow request. And yeah.
So if anyone goes on Dom's, want to check this is real, this is totally real. Oh, no. Dom Tomato is actually following Jazz's mum, Marie McCready. I think her handle is like Moo or something like that.
55.
Moo 55. There you go. Quite good at my remembering those kind of things. She is followed by the most followed person within parkour, and it is hilarious how that could even happen.
Verky follows her as well.
And now Verky follows her as well. So if anyone else wants to go and follow Jazz's mum, they need to go and do that. We need to get her to be the most... Could she be the most followed parkour mum out there? I think that should be a goal for this year, is to build on that.
I told my mum about this. She was livid.
I can imagine.
She was like, "I want Dom Tomato to follow me." I was like...
I think deep down, I think your mum has a bit of a soft spot for Dom.
Oh, fully.
Yeah, did notice when she turned up, she was like a bit dolled up to the nines. And she was like, "Oh, Dom Tomato's in the room."
Mate,
she was batting those eyelashes. She did not know where to look. She was blushing all over the place. Your poor dad was just like, "Oh, right, yeah, Dom Tomato's in the room." He couldn't compete with that kind of energy.
Leading up, she was like, Are you sure Dom's going to be there? Are you sure?" And like days before, like she was checking his stories, seeing if he like was in London or like wherever, and she was like, "Oh, I'm going to go up to him and say hi to him. I'm going to have a chat with him."
I don't think she did though, did she?
Nah, she's too starstruck.
Too starstruck. She didn't have the guts to close and
She said
say
to me,
hello.
she was like, she's too scared.
That's quality. And did you have any other funny stories or moments? Obviously, I missed out on the last day, unfortunately. I had family commitments. I had to go to a christening, so I had to leave you all in the capable hands. And did you get up to any other shenanigans whilst I wasn't there? I know you've told me some tidbits, but I want to know more.
So, all right, yeah. Me, Firish and John, we was all like watching the men's final style together. We were all watching it, and the commentator, the guy from Mini Rig, he was I don't know why, but he was just saying. You were saying if you stomped a trick, you get a lanyard. So then he was just like proper. He was like, "Yo, come here, get this lanyard." He was like chucking lanyards at people, like giving them. And
are these mini rig lanyards or just random lanyards?
Said like Mini Rig on them and
all
that.
right, okay. Mini Rig was the main sponsor for the event. If anyone didn't already know.
And it was. I don't know. It was just so weird and funny. And then the guy put the bag of lanyards and one of the Mini Rig speakers next to where we were sat, and Fire was just like took the bag, started like he put like 10 Mini Rigs like lanyards on himself, took the speaker, and he was like, "All right, if this is so good, then connect your phone to it." So I was like, "Yeah, all right." Went on Bluetooth, connected my phone. We started playing our own songs, and then we looked up to the people because they have like a whole DJ like set. We looked up to them. They were livid. They were so mad at us. Like, everyone up there was just like this. So pissed off.
It's causing trouble.
And then, like, the DJ just left. Fully went for, like, 20 minutes. And the only music was just coming from this little Mini Rig speaker.
From your phone.
Yeah, my Spotify, my playlist.
All sorts of rubbish on there.
And then eventually the guy came over and was like, "Oh, can I have that speaker, please? I need it back."
I do apologise.
Yeah.
It's great. So, I think overall, Project Underground is always a massively fun event to attend. Great experience. I definitely know that Team Reality will be at every Project Underground in the future. Pop-up shop will be there representing, and obviously you guys are all coming through the competition levels and things like that now. Jazz is going to be style, speed, skill. I know you lean more towards skill over any other competition.
Yeah.
So I think you said you was going to potentially compete next year.
I do want to compete, like, because I feel like if I just do something that I'm good at, if I just do a lache line and just do it well, then I should be alright in style.
Yeah.
But
I know I have a plan for a style run if I'm not injured. Mainly just because I want to do one thing in a run and I want to see if I can do the rest of the run. But I'm not going to reveal what that thing is. If anyone knows my type of training, you'll probably be able to figure out what the thing might be. Obviously, Corey had his first attempt this year. So it's going to be interesting to see him in the future of competition format. Shout out to Neil and Callum, who both got through to skill semi-finals. So that's where their forte kind of leans into, which is going to be good to see in the future. I know Callum definitely surprised himself.
Oh, I was surprised. Like, he wasn't even going to compete. Like, he was...
He was going to spectate, but then we got a ticket. So he took my ticket and then bought me the spectator's ticket. So
he said, like... So obviously he hurt his knee with, like, doing something in the hexagon. And then also he was lifting weights. So when I said to him, like... "You alright?" Like, and he was like, "Nah, mate, I'm fucked." Like, he said like he was so achy, but like he's competed.
just wanted to have a go.
And then I did so well.
Yeah, and then for us to think as well, if anyone didn't know, that there was 18 challenges in that first skill round, and basically the only people that went through were the ones that got 18 complete or 17 complete, and Neil and Callum both got through.
Yeah.
To that, and you think that like you to get that many challenges done, let alone with the one bangs, everything else on top of that, to be in that upper category of athletes, I think is rewarding for the individual. Neil, who's still going strong each year.
Yeah.
Callum, who's probably never really competed in anything serious before. But then for you guys who have us as coaches to see, oh wow, our coaches are up there with the top 20 athletes at an event of this size, must be quite rewarding. Obviously, I'm the grumpy old man in the background going, so it's different for me, but I think for you that must have been somewhat of an inspiration, surely.
I mean, Neil always surprises me. Like, he's good, but then he won't train for a long period of time, and then he'll come back still so good, like so technical. I'm just like, how do you do it? Like, what's the secrets, bro? Like, what is this?
I'm still trying to figure out those secrets. I have no idea. His proficiency with movement is astounding.
Oh.
Doesn't miss a step ever. And like, he's so good, and his level of commitment. I know one of the things I've spoke to with Neil before, he has this almost like a switch where if he looks at a challenge and if he can say yes within 5 seconds, it's on, it's happening. If he says no within the first 5 seconds, he won't. He'll just walk away and do something different. So he knows it's a yes or a no, end of. If there's no maybes, or maybe I should warm up and try it, it's yes, it's happening, no, it's not. And it will happen on that first 3 to 5 second response. That first look, he will know, and he makes it happen if it happens, which is amazing for someone to be able to just do that.
Yeah.
Because I know one of the biggest things in parkour is to battle your fear and that seed of doubt that you have a conversation like, I don't know, how am I feeling? Oh, my knees are a bit sore. Oh, I don't know. He's just literally, yes, no, done. That's it.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but...
Yeah, it's one of those things that I spoke to Neil at great length about.
And also, like, having, like, Neil and you, when us lot are competing, being there, being like, right, get in the zone, go, like, let's just...
Game plan, ragman, chalkman, waterman. Yeah, I definitely think it helps you guys, and obviously that's going to be the game plan going forward, is we're going to be there to support you in those moments of competition. I look forward to there being more. We'd love to hear more about other people's experience at Project Underground, especially this year, previous years. Funniest stories, best moments. Definitely comment and let us know. We'd love to hear everyone else's stories.
Yeah.
Next year's event is no doubt going to be bigger and better than the next one. We're not even at event season yet. Few months away from that yet, but there'll be a whole series of events. Grim Jam's going to be coming up August 19th and 20th.
Yeah.
There's SPL qualifiers in different places. The actual SPL event, I think, actually lands on the same weekend of Grim Jam, which is a bit of annoying. There's obviously there's a lot of European outdoor events popping up. I know the Kipper have got their event, and there's 2 other events either side of Kipper's event where you can do all 3 in the space of 2 weeks.
Yeah, that sounds...
Forgive me
sick.
for not knowing the names of both events, but amazing. Great to see that more teams, athletes, people coming around supporting all these events, because it needs to happen. These events don't happen without the support of the community, and the community is just going to go from strength to strength if we can all be there. Everyone, whatever age you are, watching it, supporting it, competing it, taking part, just having a go. Do you know what I mean? Need as many athletes, people to come and have a go at all these competitions. Big up to Liam and everyone else at Nova City for all the work and effort they do. It's amazing how big of an event that is, and we can't wait for more, so keep it up. We're going to put loads of links in the description, and I'm looking forward to more events, seeing more people and checking things out. Obviously, I'm Jake, this is Big Ol.
Yo.
And we'll see you on another episode soon.
Bye. Bye, guys.
Bye.
I've got loads of